Don't lose your way. Your mind, we have to be as one.
What is going on YouTube? Warstorm here, coming at you guys with a re-upload. The Magician deck profile I profiled for you guys was missing the entire spell and trap lineup, so I decided to go ahead and re-profile it for you guys with all those things added in. I really apologize for that, but I've been really exhausted lately, and I completely missed it. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm getting this deck profile up as fast as possible to apologize for you guys, you know, along with the video that went up today, the other video. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get the deck profile out of the way. So first off, we have 3 copies of Astrograph Sorcerer. I see some people running 2, and I understand the theory, but I want to see this card as much as often as possible because whenever being able, the fact that it special summons itself from the hand and then searches can kickstart your entire engine, and it can allow you to start link climbing, so you can bring out, you know, the link monsters and start opening up more zones. It just gives you giving a free level 7 body that searches a copy of a card that was going to destroy it anyways is pretty dang nice. Next up, we have 3 copies of Skullcrobat Joker. Not too much to say here. Joker is one of the best cards in the entire game right now. You know, it's basically a normal summon that searches any card in this entire monster in this entire deck. I don't know why you wouldn't play 3. If Konami would let you, of course. And then 1 copy Form Pop Pendulum Sorcerer. I'm honestly thinking about maybe bumping this to 2. First off, it allows you to kickstart your Iris Magician in turn 1, which being able to pop your Magician effects turn 1. A lot of them can't be activated during your turn 1 because due to the battle phase or whatever restrictions. Sorcerer kind of allows you to kickstart that entire engine and get it going. So it's a pretty strong card. Then for the Odd Eyes engine, you know, it is still Odd Eyes Magicians. I only have 4, so we have the 1 Persona Dragon, the 1 Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, the 1 Dissolver, and the 1 Unicorn. The Odd Eyes engine feels a bit too slow to me. I know a lot of you guys are going to probably blow up the comments, but I just feel like I find myself searching Persona Dragon more than anything else. Like, Unicorn is often this probably needs to be something else because it ends up being a dead draw a lot of the times. Dissolver I actually really have liked so far because I keep forgetting it only protects pendulum monsters, but the main thing is that it gives you a body that can special summon itself. And on top of that, an important thing to remember is it can fusion away extra deck monsters, and a lot of your best extra deck monsters like Time Star Magician and Evil Swarm Nightmare are dark type monsters, so you can fusion summon using cards that are already in your extra monster zone. That's pretty good. 1 Odd Eyes because I was trying 3 in the older builds. It really works if you kind of play the level 7 base build with like the Dragon Callers and stuff. It works really well. In this kind of build where you're playing the Neo Magicians, where it's all rank 4 based, 1 is like the exact number. The end phase search can be really good because it can get you search like important cards like Archfiend Eccentric and stuff, and you can do it under Pendulum Call. But I just feel like this engine is really just the best. If you don't have Persona Dragon, you can definitely play Odd Eyes Light Phoenix in this place because I know it's expensive, and if you live in Europe, you know, you can't play it. Then we have 3 copies of Wisdom Eye Magician. This card, I remember first reading it and reading how good it was. But anyway, it's basically like a Lone Fire Blossom for Pendulums. Provided you have a Magician in your other Pendulum zone, you can destroy it, have it destroy itself to set any Magician from your deck to your Pendulum zone. That is absolutely amazing, and I'd play the maximum amount Konami will allow me to play. Next up, 2 copies of Harmonizing Magician. I know a lot of players are playing 3, but I've heard a consensus that 2 is kind of the perfect number. I'm going to be honest. It's highly searchable, and it's one of those cards you want to see some of the time, but not all of the time. And I actually like the card a lot. At 2, but it is really good because it is your only one of the deck's only like 1 card play, and it is really, but I really like it a lot, and it can open up Mrs. Radiant if you Pendulum summon it out with Sorcerer, because this can grab Dragon Pulse from the deck, and then Sorcerer can pop a card, and then you can make Mrs. Radiant because they're both Earth monsters. For the Neo Magicians, we have the 3 Double Iris Magician. Not too much to say about Double Iris. It is an absolutely fantastic card. Being able to pop itself to Pendulum Zone and search any Pendulum Graph spell or trap is godly amazing. And I definitely would not play less than 3. And there's some matchups where if I were to go second, I would definitely side out a Double Iris and a Time Pendulum Graph to make room. But overall, I feel like 3 for, you know, consistency purposes is definitely necessary on this build. The other 3 purple poisons, I know a lot of the Yoshi build. The biggest thing with theory with this card is that if you have the trap card active, you can get a pop and then pop another card with this card's effect. So you basically get a 2-for-1, and it's a lot of people I find forget its pendulum effect that it boosts all dark spellcasters. They tend to forget and not read cards. Reading is hard for some Yu-Gi-Oh players, and basically allows you to punch over anything that used to be a threat for the deck, which was Cosmos ships and like big monsters, and anything else that you can't beat over with a Time Star Magician, you can probably out it with the trap card. Then 2 copies of Black Fang Magician. This is the one that I'm playing at 2 because you mainly play 2 because it's not good all the time. You don't want to see it too much, but when it pops itself, it really helps for your grind game because whenever it's destroyed, it special summons any dark spellcaster from your graveyard. That includes Under Solemn Strike, and its pendulum effect also floats when it's destroyed. So it kind of allows you to set up plays going second where you kind of play around back row and allows you to grind with your opponent, which is really good. I found that 2 is kind of the happy medium with this card. Then we have 2 copies of Oath Dragon Magician. Links have my previous build had 1 just for space, but I feel like 2 is kind of now the good number. 2 has always been the ratio I've gone back to, and I've swear by 2. It's perfect this way. Whenever it's in the Pendulum Zone, you can use it to grab a Magician from your extra deck and add that sucker back to your hand, so it's really good. Its monster effect on summon allows you to grab any Odd Eyes and it's Odd Eyes cards as well, provided there's a Magician in the Pendulum Zone. You can grab that monster and add that back to your hand. That is really, really solid, and I really like the card a lot. 2 kind of feels like right because it doesn't work with all the new Magician cards because it's a wind, not a dark. Then the 1 Dragon Pulse. This is for the harmonizing play I mentioned earlier. One of the cool combos I've seen, basically you piggyback this out with Harmonizing Magician, and then you can use Harmonizing this and Sorcerer to make Mrs. Radiant. You can also use this to make Link Spider as well. There's a neat little combo. I don't play Link Spider in this list, but neat little combo you can do is you can summon Dragon Pulse, then make Link Spider, and then I use Oath Dragon to add this back, special summon it, and then make Mrs. Radiant. It's kind of a neat little play. Then we have 2 copies of Archfiend-Eccentric. Not too much to say about this card. I've liked it in just about any kind of Pendulum deck that it fits into because it allows you to clear back row and allows you to clear monsters, and it answers a lot of threats that this deck can't answer, without proper outing. It just allows you. It's just an out for so many annoying things my opponents have. Then 2 copies of for the last 3 monsters, we have 2 copies of A Mixed Fight and 1 Maxi. Not too much to say about Maxi. As long as it's legal, you play it at the maximum amount. Konami will allow you to play it. This is honestly a card that could probably go to 3, because unlike the previous builds, you have insane scale consistency with this deck. So you could theoretically play 3 Avians, and because of Kaijus being a thing, sitting on an Avian is not quite as viable of a play as it used to be, and I still feel like 3 might be the proper number with an updated build, in my opinion. Maxi is just a really, really great card, and maybe banned on the next list, we will see. Then we have 3 copies of Duelist Alliance. I've seen people say play 2 because it's once per turn. No. You play 3. The card is absolutely amazing. Searches if you've got a card in your Pendulum Zone, searches any Pendulum monster from your deck. Important thing to remember is it goes off even if they MST your scale because you've met the summoning condition. It's part of the effect activation, not part of the summoning condition. So it's a really, really good card, and I would never play less than 3 in this deck. We have 2 Skyers and a 1 Terraforming. Because of the less of the emphasis in the Odd Eyes engine, this engine came down. 2 Terraforming, I found 1 Terraforming was the perfect number. Because I don't need to see, rather than playing 3 Skyers, because with Skyers, I've always had a love-hate relationship with the card because you don't want to see it too much. So 2 Skyers, 1 Terraforming. The 1-star Pendulum Graph, you really don't need more than 1. I've seen people play 2, and I see the OCG builds are playing 1, and I thought about it and realized you never need the second one of this, really, ever. But it is really good because anytime a Magician leaves the field, it will search a Magician. It does have an effect to protect spellcasters from spells, but Book of Moon's about the only thing you have to worry about, that might protect you from. Then and also the True King spells and traps, I guess. And then for the Last three spells, we have the one Pendulum Fusion and one Pendulum Call. I play Pendulum Fusion over Odd Eyes Fusion. It's probably about to light up my comments, the fact that I play this over Odd Eyes Fusion. But Odd Eyes Fusion sucks up too much extra deck space, and extra deck space is incredibly tight with Link Summoning being a thing. Two Pendulum Call because I feel like it's really, really solid against a lot of the top tier, True Draco. This is the card that allows you to play through, opponent opening, any kind of removal for the deck, like with Twin Twisters or whatever, and Heavy Death Storm. This kind of allows you to play through that, but you kind of have to hold on to hold it because you don't want to obviously don't want it to get ashed. But overall, I feel like Pendulum Fusion is searchable via Duelist Alliance, and it can clear your extra deck monster zone, which can be really crucial at times. And it if you have two cards in your Pendulum Zone, you can use it as so. Being a searchable fusion card that can open up your extra deck zone is pretty good. Then the only two traps is 2-time Pendulum Graphs. I underestimated this card. It is really, really good. It is a once per turn sort of Regeki break, if you will, by popping a Magician and popping a card, but that card's not destroyed. You get to send a card your opponent controls the graveyard. It does not target. It's part of the effect activation. So let's just say your opponent has two back row cards, and you chain this, and you have a way to the Pendulum monster. Your opponent activates that card is not destroyed in any shape or form. It activates the second effect, so it'll send a card, and your opponent cannot respond. That is really, really good. Now for the extra deck, we only have two Link monsters, just the Decode Talker and the Mrs. Radiant. I actually kind of quite like Decode Talker in this list because it can protect your scales from annoying targeting and whatnot. And Mrs. Radiant is actually and it can get big enough to punch over Crystal Wing because, as we all know about seed monsters, Link monsters don't have levels. So you can you can have two monsters linked to it and punch over Crystal Wing, which doesn't give this deck too many trouble, but is a thing. Mrs. Radiant is actually really solid. It allows you. It's an Earth monster. That it's the best Link 2 we currently have to summon. You could also play Link Spiders and maybe like an Ib or a Proxy Dragon when we get it, but honestly I feel like for now these are the best options because I don't have Gofus in the main. Then we have two Time Star Magicians. I find 2 is a proper number honestly with this card. It's really good, but you don't need it. You don't need more than 2 in my opinion at least. I find the second one keeps coming up because my opponent would Regeki, and it's a definite card your opponent's going to hit with Lithosagam, so it kind of allows you to play around it, so that's pretty nice. You have a One Evil Swarm Nightmare. This is a card, honestly, I'm surprised more Magician players aren't playing, and you really should add it to your extra deck because it only takes 2 Dark Monsters, it's 1950 defense, and it prevents your opponent from... It can Book of Moon any monster that is special summons, and I find a lot of decks just cannot comfortably play around that, such as Zodiacs or like True Dracos, etc. And I find the card is really good right now, and I feel like it's always going to have a little spot in this extra deck. They have the one copy of Abyss Dweller. As long as dinosaurs are a thing, you should definitely have this in your extra deck because this counters all those annoying baby effects and True Kings really hard. I'm iffy on it going forward if dinosaurs do get hit, but I feel like it's going to always have that, like, Magicians don't always deal with floaters well, so Dweller kind of fix that problem. The one Castell, Castell was one of the cards I was debating in the extra deck along with Tornado Dragon, but I feel like these two cards they're kind of niche in certain situations. They're nice to have, and this deck is pretty rank 4 base. Overall, I feel like these are good cards definitely to play. Then we have the Synchro lineup, which is the new card from Code of the Duelist, which is Supreme King Dragon Clearing. This is the only of the Supreme King cards I play. Whenever it's Synchro Summoned, it nukes all face-up monster opponent controls. And on top of that, it has a kind of weird construct-like effect. When it battles a monster, you can destroy it and burn your opponent. That doesn't really come up that much, but the main thing is this is an OTK-enabling machine, and you can make it with 1 card. So that's what can be so scary for your opponent. They have the one copy of Stardust Dragon. Stardust Dragon is an incredibly strong card, I feel like, right now. But it's definitely one of the cards that I'm debating in the extra deck because the main thing is when it negates a destruction, it special summons itself, and of course when it comes from the grave, it'll special summon in the main monster zone. And destruction is really relevant right now. I feel like there's so many matchups this thing covers. So yeah, Stardust is a pretty good card. Then the one Ignister. Ignister's always been a card that, like, I feel like I've seen Magician players say they're not to play it. I don't understand why. The Ignister is still the best synchro monster in any Pendulum deck, and if you can go into it, you make it because the card is absolutely incredible, and being able to pop off effects and spin cards is really good. The one copy of Cyframe Lord Omega and the one copy of Bilza. Bills is definitely one of the flex spots. If True Dracos get hit, this is coming out. It's really good against that deck. but against everything else, it's But the main thing is that True Dracos have a lot of trouble outing this card without that one of Stormforth. And Omega is kind of like solving. Omega is like one of the best synchro monsters in the game right now. You could definitely make this a second Omega if you want, because it allows you, because it's in the main extra deck monster zone and then clear itself out and bring it back. So overall, I feel like these two cards are pretty solid. Then for the fusions, we can have the one Starving Venom and the one Odd Eyes Vortex. Starving Venom is a card I'm kind of just running because this is the... It's definitely not... You definitely don't have to play the Pendulum Fusion. You could make the deck more rank 4 based. But the main thing is, I like Starving Venom, and this is... I feel like Pendulum Fusion with the Magicians is one of the few viable ways to summon it. And I feel like it's actually pretty solid in this particular deck. The only thing it was a bummer for me is that it only can target special summon monsters gaining attack, so I can't get over Masterpiece, but I still think the card is pretty dang decent. Vortex Dragon is kind of like a card where it gives you turn 1 plays. It's a little harder to go into in this build, but I feel like, if you can make it, why not play it? So anyway, guys, that comes to the end of the deck profile day. I hope you guys enjoyed. And anyway, guys, anyways, as always, thank you guys for watching. So Orstorm signing out.